Alright, so just a fair warning, this is going to be spoiler heavy. So I wouldn't recommend that you watch this until you watch the show and until you watch the specific episode. Without further ado though, let me give you my thoughts on The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 1. I thought it was amazing. It was fantastic. It was a slow burn. It had everything that I ever wanted in it. A bait and switch. Cool gadgetry with the Mandalorian armor. And on top of all of that, a giant friggin' monster. Now, I think we gotta talk about the monster a little bit. Disney, did you really think you could get away with copying the monster from Monster Hunter 4? I forget its name, but it was a sand dune monster that would dive into the sand. You know what I'm talking about, right? You guys have played Monster Hunter 4, right? Right? You guys know what I'm talking about here, right? Well, I'm gonna show an image of it, maybe in the corner or whatever, but yeah, they weren't slick with that. Am I mad though? Absolutely not. I'm a huge giant monster fan. That's why I like the Monster Hunter series to begin with. That's why I've always been a fan of Godzilla. That's why I've always been a fan of Gamera. Well, not really, but you know, some of the Gamera movies, right? But yeah, you can't really be mad at a giant monster. And on top of that, the show has that Western vibe to it, and it's not really subtle about it either. There's always sand, there's always a desert, there's always a lone stranger just like walking into towns and everyone's like, who's he? Or whatever. But yeah, I miss that vibe so much. And I haven't seen a Western in a while, so this really just, I don't know. It's like, how do you combine Westerns with giant monsters? I don't know, but they did do it, and it's incredible here. You know, this is easily one of my favorite plots to an episode. Yeah, I've got to say that the show is as beautiful as ever. Every shot just makes you want to really care about the universe, the characters. It all makes it seem so much more real. And speaking of characters, we've got a new one in the Marshal. Alright, I don't think that he's necessarily a bad character or anything like that, but they weren't subtle at all with his character arc in this episode. I guess you could say he doesn't seem like such a likable person at first, but then as the show or episode progresses, he becomes more and more likable because he becomes, I guess, not only more like culturally aware of the Sand People, who he initially had a bias against, but he becomes more pragmatic, I guess, when it comes down to convincing his own people to work with the Sand People in order to get the objective done, which is to kill the monster that terrorizes both of their people. Not only that, but he seems like a actually decent leader when it comes down to keeping the peace among the villagers. And as we've seen later on in the episode, the peace between the villagers and the Sand People, as the Sand Person accidentally drops one of the explosives. It was an honest oopsie, right? And the villager just got so upset with him. I think understandably so on some level, but that almost broke the peace between the two, so naturally he stepped in, he told him to cut it out, and together they were able to get the job done. So anyways, I thought this episode was bonkers. One of my favorite scenes, of course, being when the Mandalorian hangs the guy from the street light, walks away, shoots the light off, and all the eyes of the beasts in the dark just like light up, ready to eat him. Dude, that was insane. Anyways, this episode is my favorite. It was amazing. It was a 10 out of 10 by all metrics. In my opinion, of course. Let me phrase that so that people don't get too upset or whatever. But yeah, it was a perfect episode, and I can't wait for the next one. I hope that they can find a way to top this one, because for me, this is sort of like chef's kiss in terms of quality. Anyways, if you like this video, just let me know. Like, share, subscribe, whatever, man.